Thanks for tuning in once again today. It's Dustin, your Alberta Condo Guru. Today we tackle an interesting topic, voting and unit factors. In condos, voting can be done by assembly or written forms, by the titled owners, or by the board for different levels of decisions. The key word we're going to use is resolution. A resolution is a formal expression of opinion, will, or intent voted by an official body or assembled group. By the end of this video, you should be able to understand how to qualify each type of resolution. There are three kinds that we're going to touch on today. A unanimous resolution doesn't come up very often, but that would be every owner, all unit factors. It's 100% majority. The second type is ordinary resolution, which just means a simple majority, so more than half of owners or more than half of the unit factors. And finally, special resolution. We're going to spend most of our time there talking about the qualifications to have a special resolution, which is 75% majority of owners or 75% majority of unit factors. Unanimous resolutions are rarely required. Unless you're dissolving a condominium corporation, your bylaws probably don't even have a different scenario for using one. It is a monumental decision, and that's why dissolution of a condominium typically is a 100% resolution. And even then, if you can't get everyone to vote, if not everyone is entitled to vote, if you've got some holdouts, there's court remedies for that. So we're not going to delve into that one. Ordinary resolutions could be by the board, they could be by the owners, but it's just simple majority, so more than half. Now, your bylaws probably have a tiebreaker scenario for board resolutions, but with owners, it really is 50% plus one or 50% unit factors plus one. So 5,001 unit factors or more than half of the owners. Now, ordinary resolutions can also be passed at an assembly of the owners if they're tabled properly at an AGM or an SGM. They got to be in the agenda in that 2-week notice of AGM. Ordinary resolutions can also be done by paper. Let's talk about the special resolutions. There are at least two scenarios where you must use special resolutions because it says so in the Condo Act. One is if you're revising your bylaws, and two is if you're approving reserve funding for capital projects. Now, we don't mean reserve fund projects. If it's in the reserve fund plan, it's already approved. But we're talking where you have a project that is not in the reserve fund plan, like you decide you want to add a new gazebo or build a tennis court. These are capital improvements, and those would require the owners to pass the resolution by special resolution. The language for special resolutions is the same. It has two overall requirements. You must meet 75% of the unit owners entitled to vote and 75% of the unit factors. So let's look at an example and see why it's set up that way. Welcome to Solitude Retirement Villas. 20 townhomes, each with 500 unit factors, controlling 5% of the overall vote. And along comes Blackstone Investments to buy up units. They want to redevelop Solitude to a family-friendly community. They want to be able to rent to growing families, which are more lucrative, which would require a special resolution of the owners to remove the 55-plus age restriction. They wait until they've purchased 16 of the 20 units, which gives them 8,000 unit factors and 80% of the vote. However, they haven't thought about the titles. Blackstone Investments now has 16 titles, but Joe and Glenna still hold Unit 2, Bob and Claire Unit 4, Nancy, Michael, Isla, they have units as well. So when you look at all the listed owners here, there are actually only 8 persons. Corporations and people are both persons. So BS Investments, Incorporated, Corporated, whatever they happen to be, that is one person. Joe, that's another person. Glenna, that's another person. So there's 8 persons in total. So in order to block this special resolution, if some of the original owners want to hold out, well, they would only need 3 people to block the motion. So like Joe and Glenna in Unit 2 could get together with, let's say, Nancy in Unit 11, and just between the 3 of them, they could block this special resolution because they control 37.5% of the owners, as in the persons. The reason this works is based upon the Condominium Property Act. Here in Alberta, we have a definition for special resolutions which will trump whatever is in any bylaws. So regardless what your bylaws say, this is where you want to look. It's right out of the definitions, section 1. When you go to item X, special resolution means a resolution with 2 definitions. It can either be passed at a regularly convened meeting of the corporation, or agreed to in writing. Now, in order to properly convene that meeting, you've got to do your notice 2 weeks in advance. It needs to have the special business outlined in detail so the person can decide whether to vote, attend, or proxy. In addition, you've got to make sure that the meeting is convened with quorum. And if any of the procedures fall apart and the meeting doesn't count, then unfortunately the special resolution will not count. Now, I want to jump to the end of both of these because the language is the same. Special resolutions require 75% of the total unit factors for all the units. Whether you do it at a meeting or do it by paper, it's still 75% threshold. But the really important piece to keep in mind is that the resolution has to be by a majority of not less than 75% of the persons entitled to exercise powers of voting. In Alberta, those are the land title holders, and in some cases, it could be the mortgagee. So in this scenario with BlackRock, they don't control the majority of the persons, they control the majority of the unit factors. They can meet the second threshold, but this first one that I've highlighted in green, they can't meet if the owners choose not to allow them to go through with it. Now, to avoid making this video too long, I didn't want to delve into all the things that are board versus owner decisions, but this is where you should consult your individualized bylaws. It is a normal function of the board of directors to set a budget, to adjust the condo fees, and then, when needed, determine if they need to issue a special levy for underfunded repairs that were planned or for budgets that didn't provide enough income relative to expense. Next time, we're going to develop into something that I do keep kind of touching on in a lot of these videos, so we're going to tackle it head on. The hierarchy of legislation for Alberta condominiums and what other ones also apply. So we'll see you then. Take care.